Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Mania Science with Sharon on this beautiful and really hot Friday afternoon. It's really good to see you guys all. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to build an electromagnet and talk about what it does. To build an electromagnet, you need a double A battery. And this is the tricksy bit. You'll need 3, and I'm hoping that you guys can see these because I don't want to bring them too close to my phone. These are neodymium magnets. Neodymium magnets are also known as rare earth magnets. They're some of the most powerful magnets there are out there. This is 3 stuck together. The reason that they're stuck together is that they're super duper powerful and they just try to pull each other from the corners of my board desk here to stack up into this little stack, but they'll move really fast. They'll break. One of my coworkers broke one when we were playing with them earlier, and they can pinch you really badly if you happen to get a piece of your skin in between 2 of them as they're trying to come together. So as you're handling neodymium magnets like this, you'll need to be really careful. This is something to be done with older kids by themselves or younger kids with adult supervision. You guys can get these guys at Harbor Freight. That's where I pick it up, our neodymium magnets for our experiment today. And you'll need some wire. This is just some copper wire that I stripped off of a diode that wasn't working here in the Idea Factory, and I stripped it and wound it together. This wire is actually not quite thick enough. As we've been doing this experiment, we've discovered that there's all different types of conductive metals, right? So we're talking about an electrical field here. And aluminum is conductive, so paper clips are conductive, but they're too stiff. They don't bend really well to go around a battery and a magnet to spin. So I decided to salvage some of this copper wire to make the spinner, and it's actually too thin. And I don't have any other types of wire here at the Idea Factory. Copper wire is somewhat hard to come by right now. It's a little bit expensive. But if you guys have some copper wire that's a bit of a higher gauge, you'll actually be able to make a spinning motor or dancer with your electromagnet. But today we're just going to talk about what we're going to do to make it be an electromagnet. So a battery, obviously, it has a negative end. On this particular battery, it's the flat end. It's denoted with a minus sign. And it has a positive end. See a little button right there? That's with a plus sign. And if I hold it up to the camera, you can kind of see there's that plus sign there. And the minus sign is right there, down there at the bottom, if you can see it. So a magnet has stored electrical energy inside of it. The only way that you can get the electrical energy out of a magnet is to make a circuit. So you would attach something conductive, usually a piece of wire, or you can use aluminum foil too, to one end of the magnet, and then you can attach it to the top end of the magnet. It's not going to turn anything on, but your foil will get hot. A more complex circuit would involve an input and an output, so the input would be the electrical energy stored here in the battery, and the output might be something like an LED bulb. So if any of you guys have gotten the kit from Youth Services for this summer that talks about paper circuits, and they make a circuit so that you can make a card that lights up, that's kind of the same idea, except for those are button batteries and this is a AA battery, so there's a little bit more charge in this guy. To make the electromagnet, it's the super simplest thing in the world. You're going to take 3 neodymium button magnets. So if you can see them, they're not super big, right? They're just little fellas. And you're going to stick them to the negative end of your battery. You could stick them to the positive end. They will stick there, but it's not a good idea to do that because it's not going to make a good complete circuit. And if you have the right type of wire, you're not going to be able to make that motor, that spinning dancer. So we'll go ahead and really it's super simple. Pop right on there. So now I've got 3 super powerful magnets stuck to my battery, and that's literally it to make an electromagnet. You don't need to do anything else if you just want to make an electromagnet. But this isn't very exciting, right? You can't see the Lorentz field, which is the the Lorentz force that's being generated by this electromagnet right now. So the Lorentz force is what happens when electricity passes through a magnetic field. So it's amplifying the magnetism because of the electricity, and so they are complementing each other, and we've actually made this magnet pretty powerful. In theory, unfortunately today we're not going to be able to see it in practice because, like I said, I'm having a really hard time sourcing wire right now. If you take your conductive wire, and for this, like I said, I have this little piece of copper wire, and wrap it around the negative end of the battery, so it needs to be touching those magnets, and trust me, there's really no way you can't get it to touch. These magnets are super strong, and they're going to pull this wire to it no matter what we do. As you see here, it's stuck. Beep. That's not what we want. We want it to go in between, so kind of right here on these magnets here. So let's see if I can get it to do it. It just does not want to wrap around. It wants to do all kinds of stuff. Magnetism is a funky thing, and it doesn't always want to play nice. But I've got it wrapped around here, and now we're going to need to, and this is where the fact that my wire is soft is actually not really working out for me real well. It is so soft that the magnetic field is actually bending the wire a bit. But I got it to attach, and then we're going to make a little crease in the top and attach it to the positive end of the battery. And normally, if you're using a really stiff piece of wire, this will start to spin. But because I'm not, what it is actually doing is getting super hot. Ouch, ouch. It's really, really hot. So because the wire is conductive, I'm going to take it off of here so it doesn't burn. The wire is conductive. It's conducting that super amped up a magnetic field, or electrical field that's passed through the magnetic field that you have, the Lorentz force. It is conducting that super duper amped up electricity that has been polarized because of the magnets. And there's a lot of energy there. Normally it would spin, but because it's not spinning, the wire is getting really, really hot, and we could probably start a fire. I would not like to do that in the library. That's a horrible idea. But that is just a demonstration of one of the outputs of all of that potential energy that's being released from the completed circuit. So this will complete the circuit and pass that electricity through that magnetic field, and that heat that you can feel in your wire when you are at home is a physical manifestation of the Lorentz force that is being produced by your electromagnet when you close the circuit. Please do try this at home. It's a really cool experiment if you can get your hands on the right kind of wire. I know it's kind of a bummer that we don't have it right now, but due to wire or copper wire being really, really expensive and supply chains breaking down due to our pandemic issue that we're having right now, it's really hard to get your hands on the right thing. So when I planned this out a while ago, I hadn't thought that I wasn't going to be able to get the right stuff. But look through your shop, look through your kitchen, find something old you can strip. Maybe you could add a few more layers of wire, strip an old transistor or an old radio or something, and you'd have a lot of fun. I hope you do try this out at home. Like always, drop a comment, let me know if you have any questions or any ideas about what I can do next week. I think next week, you know what, I'm not sure what we're doing. I think it's candy sushi. That's pretty exciting. It's not science, but candy sushi's cool. Anyway, until I get to see you next week and we get to play with some candy, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep making, guys. Have a good one.